Welcome back. I think the important thing tonight is that the teams I cheer for won. I think that's the important thing, although I have a feeling there may be some people who do not agree with me. But it was some entertaining hockey. Uh, been some minor changes in the standings, and so we'll get into that. So starting off with Boston at home against the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Montreal hasn't played in a long time. Montreal's still dealing with a number of guys out of the lineup, and clearly, as the game went along, Boston just kind of takes over. So, it was Allen versus Ullmark. This is the 752nd regular season meeting between Boston and Montreal, and these teams really don't like one another. Vedemo goes around the net with an opportunity. The Habs were sharp early. They had some good pressure. Grzelcyk has a chance then that saved. McAvoy has a chance off to face-off. That was saved as well. The Bruins press at 5.5 minutes. Lehkonen nearly gets one. Good first half, I thought, for Montreal, honestly. Bruins get a power play. Petrie was playing without a helmet. I'm not sure why he was upset on that play with the call, but he wasn't happy with the call. Allen saves on Hall. They did kill off that penalty. With 8 minutes left, the shots are 5 apiece. So it was a very evenly played game, and I thought, it's more entertaining if it's an evenly played close game. Pastrnak blasts one high. The Habs press with 6 minutes left. Lazar has a rush chance. He hits the outside of the net. And then Marchand scores from Nosek and Lazar at 14:43. And then with what can be called a lucky bounce that gets over to Marchand, he scores the second 15 seconds later from Smith and Bergeron. And you get those bounces, and Marchand buries it, and that makes it 2-0. Pastrnak then on a 3-on-2, he fires wide. Paling to Sherratt, that wouldn't go. The Habs did press, but then in the final minute, it's one of those killer goals. Lazar from DeBrusk and Grzelcyk at 19 minutes and 10 seconds. So what had happened too was that after Marchand scored, Jake Allen, clearly there was something bothering him. The speculation is it might be a groin pull, which can be a week, it can be a month, it can be whatever. So that's the thing right there. So that's 2 goals on Allen in the first and 1 on Montembeault, who came in relief. And I thought Montembeault played well. But again, just a rough night for Montreal, and they're down 3-0 after 1. Second period, early chance for Bergeron. The Bruins then press at 2.5 minutes. The Habs get a power play. Paling has a chance that's saved, and that power play was killed off. Marchand fires one wide. The Habs press. They go back to the power play, and Drouin hits the post. And then Marchand rounds out the hat trick with a shorthanded goal from Moore and Bergeron at 7:10. That is the 5th career hat trick for Marchand. A lot more hats on the ice in Boston than there would have been if he got the hat trick in Montreal. Then we get 51 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything ends up being killed off. And then Pezzetta. Now, Pezzetta got his first NHL goal against Boston. He gets one here from Kulak at 10:46. And then he aggravated the Bruins to the point where the Habs end up with a power play with him being a shift disturber. I have to make sure I clearly enunciate that. But he was doing his best there. But then we get 9 seconds of 4-on-4, and the Bruins get a power play after that. So that's killed off, and then with 49.4 seconds left, the Bruins get another power play. There were a lot of power plays in this game. We go to the third period, score 4-1 for Boston. We get 4-on-4 for 26 seconds, and then a Habs power play. But again, everything gets killed off. Steen has a blast that's saved. Things get kind of scrappy. The Bruins end up taking a penalty. The tempers were up on both teams. And Bergeron kind of lost his coolness, which I understand. But at the same time, it felt kind of out of character for Bergeron. So Weidman then was guilty of a headbutt on Howlett. It was not a really vicious, violent headbutt, but it was clear. So he gets an extra 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. So we end up with 4-on-4. Everything evens out of that. Sherratt then has a chance that's saved. Everything gets killed off there. Bergeron couldn't bury one, and then Vakanainen. So I've seen reports that maybe this goal got taken away from him. Last time I looked at the app, it was still Vakanainen's goal. He gets it from Bleed and Lazar at 10:19. Can we please keep Bleed in the lineup for the Bruins? Thank you. And then, this is the weird part. It's 5-1 Boston, and the fans start chanting, "We want Tuukka." You've got Ullmark in the net having a decent game. I'm surprised by "We want Tuukka." It'd be weird if I'm at a Canucks game and Halak's in the net and everybody starts chanting "We want Demko." I understand the excitement for Tuukka, but it just seemed weird. Then we had Howla fight with Dauphin. The fans started chanting ole, ole, ole because Boston fans will do that. This is the last time Montreal has to play in Boston this season, and I'm sure they'll be glad for it. Then there was a post for Lazar with 1:20 left. He wanted another goal. But at the end, he ends up with, he had a goal and an assist, or goal and 2 assists, actually. Good night for Lazar. Good night for the Bruins. They win 5-1. They go to 20-11-2. So Boston now has won 6 out of 7. The Montreal Canadiens dropped to 7-24-4. And they're now last overall in the league. They are 32nd. The shots, 13-6 Boston in the first, 15-9 Boston in the second, 13-10 Boston in the third. Final shots, 41-25 Boston. And remember, they were 5-5 with 8 minutes left in the first. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 5. A lot of penalties. Very physical, rough game. Hits, 29-21 for Montreal. Jake Allen saves 5 out of 7 before leaving with an injury. Montembeault saves 31 out of 34. And Ullmark, in what might be his last start for a while, Rask's supposed to start tomorrow. Ullmark saves 24 out of 25. And again, it just felt weird to me that Ullmark's having a good game. I understand that the stats would tell you Ullmark's been middle of the road to poor at times, but I think he's been better lately. So, yeah, I kind of feel bad for the guy. And what happens if Rask gets hurt? He hasn't played in a while. What if he gets hurt? Then it's all awkward because then it's like, we believed in you all along, Ullmark. We promise. So, yeah. Anyways, Seattle. Now, I forgot to mention this in the last Seattle game. I want to mention it here. I do actually now have the helmet sticker magnets made up for Seattle that are Seattle, and these are, so I'm happy. I now have all 32 teams, so I'm done. Good night, everybody. Anyways, so it's Seattle in against Dallas. Dallas is heating up as well. Grubauer versus Ottinger in this one, and at 50 seconds, Rope Hintz opens the scoring from Robertson and Pavelski, and that one went in off Giordano's skate. So it's a tough break for Seattle. They're fighting from behind right away. Peterson then can't bury one. The shots are 3-1 for Dallas at 5 minutes. Things get kind of scrummy at the Seattle net after a whistle. The Kraken come out of that with a power play, and they score on it. Yarncroke scores from Johansson and McCann at 8:25, so that ties it up. Not for long. Pavelski at 11 minutes scores from Heiskanen and Suter. That makes it 2-1 in favor of the Dallas Stars. That one went off. That was a nice bounce off the end boards. And I'm not sure if Heiskanen intentionally missed the net, and then the bounce comes out to Pavelski, but if he fanned on it or if it wasn't intentional, well, it went to Pavelski and it was perfect. Then there's a delay game call. That leads to a Stars power play, and then we end up with 1 minute and 8 seconds of a 5-on-3 for Dallas, and they bury it. It's Robertson, who has become my favorite member of the Dallas Stars. He's the superstar we're not talking about enough. He scores from Hintz and Pavelski at 13:01. This is also a line that's become one of the better lines in hockey. Robertson, Pavelski, Hintz, all with goals in the first period. Or as the Dallas broadcaster said, the trifecta was complete with that one. Then the 5-on-4 was killed off after that by Seattle. Stars press with 4.5 minutes left, but after the first, it's 3-1. Didn't look completely dissimilar to that one, and I thought, all right, so these might both be laughers, but Seattle does keep things interesting. So in the second period, Kiviranta blasts one high, and there were some sloppy turnovers going on in the second period by both teams. And that always will make a fan nervous watching because you're looking for some really crisp passes. McCann gets a goal from Eberle and Dunn at 5:38. That makes it 3-2. Fantastic pass by Eberle, and McCann buries it. That's a new career high for McCann in goals. I think that's 15 this year. Then Peterson has a tip chance. That's saved. Seattle has a 2-on-1. McCann with the near miss. They were trying to set up McCann a lot in this game after that, and which is understandable. The shots, though, were 5-2 for Dallas at the halfway mark. Donskoy is then denied as Seattle presses. Seattle presses again with 5 minutes left in this one, at least in the second. Power play for Seattle. Ben ends up taking a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. I'm not sure why he was complaining on the way to the box. It's one of those ones where it seems kind of obvious, but I wasn't happy about it. Ref, you suck chance start there. Might be some leftover from the Seattle game, but they did kill it off. And then at 18:37, Pavelski gets his second goal and third point in the game from Lindell. So Esa Lindell with the helper on that one. Pavelski with another goal. At 37, he looks like he's 25 right now. It's fantastic. Third period early press by Seattle. They end up getting themselves a power play out of that as well. McCann has a shot that's saved, and then he's denied again, and they killed it off. Suter fires one wide. Blackwell fires one high after that. The shots are 6-2 for Seattle at the halfway mark. Donato has a net drive. Ottinger saves on that one. Eberle was then robbed. There's a post for Appleton, and then a scrum follows that. Goaltender gets pulled. There's an icing with 2.5 minutes left. But eventually the empty netter's hit from like 200 feet down the ice. It's Hakanpää that puts it in the middle of the net from Hintz and Pavelski at 18-18. So for Roope Hintz, that's 3 points in the game. For Pavelski, that's 4 points in the game. I'd say that's a pretty good night for those two guys. And Hakanpää with his first goal as a Dallas Star. So Dallas wins 5-2. They go to 18-13-2. They're now, I believe, 3 points back of a playoff spot with 4 games in hand. They should be able to get into one of those spots. Seattle, 10-21-4 with the loss. And again, they're left, scratching their heads after this one. The shots favored Dallas 10-5 in the first, 8-6 in the second, and then Seattle outshoots them in the third. 14-7, both teams had 25 shots in the game. Power plays, Seattle 1 for 3, Dallas 1 for 2. The hits, 28-22 for Seattle. Grubauer saves 20 out of 24. Ottinger saves 23 out of 25. And Ottinger had a good game. So Jake Ottinger continues for me to be a good story for Dallas. He's got a very good record at home. And again, I think he's a very good goaltender. Much like I think Swayman's good in Boston, but I digress. He's down in the minors now, and we'll just leave that where it is for now. All right, next up and last up, Toronto against Vejmelka. It's remarkable how he had this great start to the season where we were actually saying, is it possible he could get into the Calder discussion without winning a game this year? And the answer early on was, with his numbers, yeah, probably. Now, he regressed. He did. He had some rough games in there. His overall numbers coming into this one weren't great, but Vejmelka can steal a game, which is what Toronto learned tonight. So it's Mrazek versus Vejmelka. Good start for the Coyotes in this one. Keller has a chance to deflect wide. They were leading in shots early, not for long. Nylander then has a shot that's saved. Matthews was denied on a Kasha pass. We get a power play for the Leafs. And Bunting is denied versus his old team. Michael Bunting wanted a goal tonight. It does not happen. The Coyotes did kill it off, but the Leafs had some chances. The Leafs go right back to the power play. Tavares was denied. Riley has a shot that's saved. It's killed off in 2 power plays for Toronto in that first period, and the only power plays they get in the game. They recorded 10 shots. So a lot of opportunities, and they weren't just, softies from the point or anything. These were pretty good shots, and Vejmelka made it clear early he was intending to steal it. And then Dzingel, on a good goal on what was kind of a scrambled play, he scores unassisted at 14:57, and that's only the 3rd shot on goal for Arizona. Toronto had 15. So this is going to be the storyline, right? Leafs try to answer, but it's Vejmelka. It's Karl Vejmelka's night. And I think he's a good goaltender. I think Arizona at the deadline is going to absolutely get something good for Vejmelka. There's enough teams right now that are looking for an upgrade in net. Edmonton. Others that, yes, I think Vejmelka is going to bring in a decent haul for Arizona at the deadline. Nights like this against a really high-profile team like Toronto, it's going to turn some GM's heads. Kasha was there, or no, we had 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Kasha's denied on a Mikheyev setup. Kessel had a rush chance that was saved the other way. Kessel wanted a goal against Toronto as well, right? But it's 1-0 Arizona after 1. No idea how, other than Vejmelka. Second period. Coyotes get a power play. Leafs don't let them set up at all. It's killed off. The Leafs pressed after. Puck controls all Toronto. In the first 30 minutes of this game, Toronto had 27 shots. Halfway mark of the game, 27 shots for Toronto. I hope Victoria didn't stay up for this. I hope she slept. Anyways, just occurred to me, like, man, she's in Scotland. I would be miserable if I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch my team play. And that happened. So Bunting has a net drive. It's another save. It's all Vejmelka at this point. Kampf has a shot that's blocked. It's all Leafs. I was like, okay, how many ways can I write on the board that Toronto still has the puck? Last minute, though, Ghost has a blast that's saved. And that's the fear, right? Is that you're down 1-0, you're getting all these opportunities. Puck goes the other way, it can end up in the net. There's a lot of reviews I've done where that happens. Nylander and Matthews are denied with 10 seconds left. And Matthews, his parents in the crowd, they were shown a lot on the TSN feed tonight because it's their one chance to come out and see him in Arizona this year. So we go to the third period, 14 seconds in, Austin Matthews gets on the board. He sets a new record in Toronto Maple Leafs history with 9 straight road games in a regular season with a goal. So he scores from Muzzin, he wired it high blocker side, and in the back of my mind I thought, okay, now Toronto's going to win the game. They've had this scare through 2 periods. Now it's the third. They're going to win it. I was wrong. The Leafs press for another. Richie has a tip that saved and held. He draws a bit of a crowd after because he was poking at Vejmelka on that one. Coyotes had a 2-on-1. Kessel misses wide there. Nylander with a break. That's saved. And then Nylander takes a high sticking call, so the Coyotes get a power play. But that's killed off and no shots. Really, the power play for Arizona was a non-factor. Tavares with a rush. He fires wide. The Leafs, though, press. The Coyotes start controlling the puck at the half. And I wrote Steele with a question mark because I thought, okay, now the Coyotes are starting to maybe get a little bit more confidence. They're starting to limit Toronto's opportunities. And then Dzingel scores the second of the game from Schmaltz and Galchenyuk at 12 minutes and 42 seconds. So you've got Dzingel, who used to play in Ottawa, has had a rough time this year, but he gets 2 goals tonight. You've got Schmaltz, who's been one of my favorite players for a long time, and Galchenyuk, who played with the Leafs last year. So 12 minutes and 42 seconds, it's suddenly 2-1 for Arizona. Then there was a rush chance. This was a rush chance, was buried. It was kind of a 2-on-1 that became a 2-on-2. Boyd was then denied, and the Leafs go the other way, and they pressed, but only for a bit. Like, they didn't have that concerted pressure until later in the period. Simmons with a rush. Vejmelka saves on that. The Leafs crash. Bunting with the shot initially, and then Hall can't bury on the rebound. Vejmelka just denied him there, and Ghost was right there to make sure it didn't go in too. So they pull the goalie with 2.5 minutes left. Lots of pressure by Toronto. They call a timeout with 1.5 minutes left. Probably just Sheldon keep going. Yeah, I don't know. Just rest. I don't know. Keep doing what you're doing. We're doing everything we can. We're just not getting a goal. Matthews had a centering pass that was picked off. And then Ghost blocked a Matthews shot. I admire his courage. And Arizona wins this one 2-1. They win their 8th of the year. They have equaled the Capitals for the record of the least amount of wins in a season. So they're going to cruise past that. Now it's Montreal that's on 7. So they go to 8-23-3. They are 1 point ahead of the Montreal Canadiens. Toronto drops to 23-9-3. They go into Vegas. They find a way to get 2 points. And they go into Arizona and don't get any. And I'm at a loss to understand what happened here other than Carl Vejmelka happened. Shots, all Toronto. 20-6 in the first, 15-6 in the second, 11-6 in the third. Final shots, 46-18 for Toronto. Power plays, both teams go for 2. The hits were 33-23 for Arizona. I'm impressed Toronto got 23 hits because it felt like they had the puck the whole game other than when the 2 goals were scored. Mrazek, 16 saves on 18 shots. I feel bad for him because he had a half-decent night, but no goal support. And Vejmelka was the one that stole this. 45 saves on 46 shots. Absolutely fantastic game just for shock value alone. So for Arizona, this is the second straight win for them, which is, I think it's the second time this year they've had 2 straight wins. I know it'll go to their heads, right? They're going to get all like, hey, we're up to 8 wins. Feeling pretty good right now. So, yeah, we'll see how this ends up going for them. And again, for Toronto, rough night. You got to shake it off. You got to realize you probably would have won this game against any other goaltender other than Vejmelka that's in the zone tonight. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding these 3 games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.